What's going on, everybody? Nick from the Long Haul Podcast, as always. And today I got my boy Eddie Padilla on. What's going on, homie? How are you?
Hey, what's up, my man? I'm doing well. How are you?
Not bad, bro. I feel like shit today, if I'm being honest.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right. It's just this diet. I'm fucking tired as hell and grumpy and was hypo all this morning and just feel dizzy. So I can't get out of it. But it's okay. It's part of this shit.
You're looking pretty solid, though. Looking really solid. That's it. I've seen your progress, man, and good shit.
I'm trying, dude. I mean, I'm really putting as much effort into this as I would if I was doing a show. Like I really want these pictures to come out like pretty freaky looking. And I'm going to do like a bunch of marketing for it and whatnot, do a photo shoot, see if I can't maybe get Gasp or Better Bodies to do something now that I'm up there. I'm constantly thinking about content stuff now with the YouTube and the Instagram and everything. Cause I mean, I'm on my own. Like I've got no one else to back me now. So I have to be putting stuff out. I have to be in front of people. My whole purpose right now is to make people so fucking annoyed with me that they come up to me and be like, stop putting stuff out. Like,
hey, I completely understand that because I was having a conversation with somebody about this, and the pros and cons of venturing out on your own, right? And you're doing exactly what you need to do to grow your business on your own. Because if you're not doing all this marketing, putting out all this content, how else are you gaining exposure if you're not at a big box or gym per se, right?
Exactly.
The smart thing you did was you went to the location that you're at, right? And you started taking your clients there because you're still in their environment. So yes, you are a private trainer, but you're a private trainer under a facility. So you still get that exposure, right? And then when the time is right, whatever your goals are, whatever you want to do, you can venture out on your own, get your own spot if that's what your goals are.
Right. And I think
you're on the right track.
Yeah. And I think you and I can both agree, like Equinox is an amazing company. And obviously you were at Equinox a lot longer than I was, but I got a lot out of it. And I really think that place matured me more and showed me how to set up a personal training business. So I think without that experience, I don't think I would be in the position that I am now. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity for being there. But Equinox, like, there was a lot of opportunity there, but for what I want to do, there wasn't enough opportunity. Not in the lane that I wanted to be in, because like what I'm doing right now is exactly what I want to do. And I'm around some of the best bodybuilders on the planet. I'm working with the best bodybuilding clothing companies on the planet. Like I'm working in this environment that's so positive and in the lane that I've wanted to be in since I was fucking 18 years old. Like I feel like I'm following my purpose now. Like I've known I wanted to be a trainer, but like I just wasn't in the perfect environment for myself and my personality and my style of training. Like I felt like I always got weird looks at Equinox because of the way I trained and because of the way my hypertrophy style was. Like obviously the guys there know how to put muscle on people, but it's not my way. I'm doing things a lot fucking different than those guys. Like there's a few trainers that are pretty close to me, but Equinox is kind of more your lane where it's the really functional stuff. Like I watch you do some of your workouts and I'm like, I would have hit myself with the kettlebell like 6 times by now.
Yeah. And it just goes back to what we discussed when we first met, right? I told you, get with the company, right? I recommend this company. Gain exposure, education, right? Soak up the education because I love the company. I think it's a great company, but you're right. It's tailored to a specific clientele, right? Especially the location that you were in.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I told the managers whenever, I referred to, I was like, he needs to be at the Highland Park location because I think you would have had more of the clientele that you wanted, right? Or that kind of tailored or worked with your style of training, right? But yeah, you went in there, you tried it out, you gained the education, and now you have that Equinox on your resume, right? And
Sure.
people in the fitness industry recognize the company, right? Whether I'm not sure how familiar it is in the bodybuilding world, because you're right, that's not my my expertise, right?
People in Texas know what Equinox is. Like,
Exactly. So
it doesn't matter if they're in bodybuilding or not. If they've been to a gym, they've at least heard of Equinox.
exactly.
Yeah.
And now your value just went up so much more, right?
Yep.
But
Without having
like
to do another certification or anything. I just got hired at a location. And because
exactly.
I was able to even get into a place like that, that definitely elevates for sure.
And the cool thing about the company is, you touched on it earlier, they teach you how to run and maintain a successful personal training business,
Right.
right? Uh, they they give you the tools to, pardon me, build it, right?
Right.
And it's on you how you maintain it, how you sustain it, and how successful your business is. If you're not putting in the work, if you're not putting in the hours, if you're not having those conversations, working out, training as much people as you can, you are not going to get the exposure, and you are not going to be a successful trainer in that industry.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But again, you tried the company out, you knew the lane you wanted to take, and now you're doing it. And I watch all your stuff. You put me through a session, and it's good shit, man. You're on the right track.
Yeah.
I know we talked about, us being roommates or whatnot at this spot, but I think you made the right decision staying where you're at, and going to destination, and just, doing everything you're doing. Keep fucking training everyone. Get as much people you can on camera, get that fucking exposure, and your business is gonna blow up.
Yeah. It's definitely been growing slowly but surely. So, like, to back up a little bit, because most people probably don't know our backstory, like how we know each other. So I moved to Texas in August, and it was like September, October timeframe. I got hired at Concrete Cowboy, where you were already working the door and had been for a long time. And the door position is a pretty highly regarded position at a company like that. And I was brought straight into the door. Like, I didn't really work inside that much. They put me straight at the door and wanted me working with you. And at first, when I first met you and Dave, like, I could tell y'all were like, who the fuck is this new guy? It was like, I was trying to fit in. Like, I was trying to, like, get along with you guys, not step on toes, just whatnot. And then slowly over time, as we started to talk more, because there was nights where it was just you and I out there. It'd be slow as fuck. It'd be freezing our asses off. And we'd just get to talking. So we kind of created that bond over time. And when I first came here, LA Fitness was the first place I went. And like almost immediately I started complaining to you about LA Fitness. And one of the first things that the old owner said to me was like, hey, he works for Equinox. And like, I really didn't even know what Equinox was at the time, but the way he said it, and like it put Equinox up on this pedestal, and that's when we kind of started talking and whatnot. And you, again, like you kind of mentioned earlier, you referred me to Equinox. So I was working at Equinox, working at Concrete Cowboy, and we continued to build this relationship and just became boys through work. Like, that was the biggest thing. And over time, like, our mindsets linked up a lot better than us and the other people working in that club, that club, right? Like, those people are there to make some quick money, that kind of thing. You and I, we were there to make quick money, but at the same time, we kept ourselves separate from that nightlife scene and that whole lifestyle. And I could see what you were doing, and you could see what I was trying to do, and we knew that like somehow this would link together. So like, it's been really cool to continue that friendship. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that I have now, you at least helped me go on the right path with getting away from LA Fitness, going to Equinox. Because if I had stayed at LA Fitness when shutdown happened, I would be fucked right now, because LA Fitness furloughed all of their employees. So I don't know what I would have been able to do, because I would have lost both jobs. And thank God for Equinox, because they paid us the entire time. So
For
it
sure.
literally set me up to where like it planted the seed in my head once quarantine came around of like moving, going to destination, my son coming, like all these things came together at once. And if I had stayed at LA Fitness, it might not have gone the same way. Or if I'd gone straight to destination, instead of hitting another corporate location, it probably wouldn't have panned out the right way either. So you really kind of helped put me on that right path. So I appreciate you so much for that.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, that's always been my personality, and I want to help people, right?
Right.
With, in any which way I can, right? But just through conversations, I think the nightlife is great, and the money's great in it. But I always have conversations with people like, okay, my coworkers, like security guards or the girls, what's your end goal? Do you want to be in this industry for the rest of your life and just make that quick cash and then just stay in this party environment because that's what it is, right? And as you mentioned earlier, I I still worked there whenever I did, but I did keep myself separate for the most part from the partying, the nightlife, and stuff of that sort because I had other goals. I had my goals are being successful in the fitness industry, being a successful trainer, and just one day owning my private studio and building my successful brand, right? And just being a name in the industry, right? In the fitness industry,
Right.
where for some time I was kind of torn with, okay, do I want to be in this industry or do I want to be in this industry? So I contemplated leaving Equinox, a long time ago and just going full time into the bar industry where yes, the money's great, but then I started realizing quality of life. Now I value quality of life.
Mhm.
Training X amount of hours a day / a week, right? And then working from because Fridays were my long days. I'd have clients in the morning, go all day, still try to get my workout in, take a nap, eat, go to work, be there from 10 because I refuse to go in at 9, be there from 10 till by the time I got home
Three,
from
3:30.
Frisco was 3:34 in the morning.
Yeah.
Then faction faction play, we were hosting these classes Saturday mornings. So say I got to bed at like 4:30, I was up at like 8:30ish
To go do it.
going to this hour class, right? And again, I had to be on point because one thing Equinox taught me is I have a value, right? And with me having that value, I want to elevate my session or whoever I'm working with, right? They get my full attention. They
Right.
are paying a lot of money to work with me. So
Right.
they deserve their money's worth.
For
And
sure.
if my energy is low, if I'm tired or, something is up and I'm not mentally there, it's going to show and it's going to reflect on me as a trainer and it's going to reflect on their session.
For sure.
So once I started to put more value in realizing what I wanted to do, I started, kind of separating myself from uh, that job. And then I think at one point I was only working one night a week there.
Yeah.
It was only Saturdays. And again, I didn't want to get too caught up into the money aspect of it. So when this whole pandemic happened and the shutdown happened, it kind of put a lot of things into perspective for me,
Right.
right? And it made me realize that okay, I know what career I want to be in. I know what I want to do. I got in line and in touch with my goals. And once the reopened, I decided not to go back because again, it goes back to my quality of life. I still love the company. I'm still great friends with everyone who's still with the company.
Right.
But my life and my goals have just taken me in the
Exactly.
direction where I really need to focus on.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's we have a very similar story with that. Like, I mean, I was working Monday to Thursday at Equinox, 12 to 14 hours a day. Friday,
exactly.
I'd be there for 7 hours. I'd come home, nap, eat, go to Equinox, or go to Concrete, and then repeat Saturday night. And Sunday, I was dead. So, like,
Exactly.
the biggest thing that I noticed once I stopped working there is like I didn't realize how fucked up I was, like how my energy was, I guess, like
Oh,
how I
yeah.
felt, because I didn't think it was affecting like there would be 3 days of shitty sleep. Like because I took Sunday to completely rest and basically sleep all day, I thought I would be fine for Monday through Thursday, but like I was wrong. I'd
Yeah.
like have never had so much energy in my entire life now. Like I realized how much it was affecting me. Um, to be up till 3, 3:30, 4, and like at first it was like, damn, what am I gonna do without that money? But it's like
Yeah.
now Friday, Saturday, Sunday are all open for me to make more money, right? And like I haven't been an asshole with my money, so I have been using it properly and being careful and whatnot. So like, yeah, I took a short-term hit, and I was saving a shitload of money being able to work there. Like I wasn't really touching that.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have that extra little bit, but like basically half of my week was dedicated to that place because my sleep schedule switched so hard. And not even just professionally, but personally, like my relationship with people suffered, my workout suffered. Like there was 3 days that I couldn't work out. And even though I
Exactly.
wasn't working out, my recovery was still garbage because my sleep was garbage. So like the days that I could train was still kind of like kind of going through the motions. Um, so I didn't realize how much of a drain that place was until like I got out of it, you know. And it's again that allure of the quick short term money is what kept me there for so long. And especially I needed that job when I first moved here. So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to have had that position because you and I wouldn't have met. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been able to pay my bills, and I would have been really fucked to be out here, to be completely honest. I've got
Yeah.
one cousin out here, and like I'm not gonna go to my cousin for fucking money. Like, and I don't want to go back to mom and dad either. I'm fucking 27 years old now. Like, sure, they'll be there to help me if I really need it, but I don't want to. Like, I'm an adult. Like, so I don't want to have to go back to mommy and daddy anytime bad things happen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very grateful for like the time that I spent there. But now having those extra 3 days open to where I can train people and I can do other things, especially now with my son on the way, like it opens up so much more time. And
Yes.
like I do miss some of the people we worked with, but like you said, no one really had an end goal there. It was like they were focused on the next few years. They were going to make a boatload of money there, but it's like, what are you planning on doing after? And the girls that did have something planned after, most of them are gone now. Most of them aren't
Oh, yeah,
working.
for sure. For
So
sure.
there are a few that do get out of it, but like it's that industry is a black hole. I mean, it really does suck people into it, you know, and you have to. You really have to suck your life into that. It's just like fitness. Like our life got sucked into fitness, theirs just got sucked into the nightlife, you
Yeah.
know?
And that's okay. You know, everyone chooses what career they want to be with
Right.
or whatever.
Nothing wrong
But
with
yeah, but it took me a while, and you know, I am on the same page with you. Like, I have not been in such good shape, right? Because yes, I was working out, but my recovery, you know, recovery is very important when it comes
yeah.
uh, to working out. If
Gotta
I put it up with the most important thing, you know, um, that's the way I view it. If your sleep is shit and your recovery is shit, it's going to trickle down. It's going to affect your nutrition. It's going to affect your workouts. It's going to affect your mood. It's going to affect everything, right? Your recovery, you're more prone to injury or whatnot, right? So once I started getting more sleep, I started dialing in my nutrition.
There's
You
another
helped me out with that,
the
you
level
know.
up on that fucking notch, man.
My workout started getting better, right? Or I had more energy to work out. I was working out more consistently,
Yeah.
right? Because I didn't need those 2 to 3 days, you know, to recover from
Right.
weekends of work, right?
Right.
Now, the way my schedule is set up, I don't take any clients on Sunday. Sunday is my day. I focus on myself. I focus on, you see, but like I built my business up
Yeah.
to that point, right? So, and that's okay, and I'm okay with it. I'll do makeup sessions every now and then, right? Because I still keep my clients accountable.
Right.
And if for some reason they can't do a makeup session on Saturday, I will take them on a Sunday. It's okay to
Who
work
it is.
on a person. Huh? What's that?
I said, depending on who it is.
So, I'm not gonna name names, but
No, don't.
but yeah, man, and like I said, my just my personal uh, goals have, you know, been more in sight. You know, my goals are always changing. I either want to get lean or I want to get big or both or whatever. But I'm staying more on track. I feel like I am in the best shape of my life
Yep.
right now because I'm eating right. Honestly, I'm thankful for this pandemic because it made me establish better habits when it comes to, again, sleep, nutrition. I'm cooking at home. So I know what goes into the food that I'm consuming, right?
I had to have just a quick note on that. Like I had to have that conversation with the client this morning, and her weight went up, but her measurements went down. So we had just switched from like a regular meal plan back over to macros. And I was like, "Have you been following this properly?" And she's like, "Well, I didn't track this weekend because we were out of town." She's like, "But I ate healthy and all that stuff, though. I didn't eat anything bad." And I was like, "Okay, well, you may have eaten healthy, but you don't know how much sodium was in that food. So that sodium now cause water imbalances, throw everything off. And she already has like major thyroid issues. So that little bit of sodium, a little bit extra water can really kind of mess her up. So that 100%, like you can still go out and eat clean, but it's not the same as knowing exactly what you're putting into it. So just quick little note on that. Didn't mean to derail you there, but
no, you're completely right because that's the same thing I tell my clients. I tell them, try to eat a majority of your meals at home so you know what you're cooking, and then when you do go out, right, pay attention to what you're consuming, right, and then also try to be aware of how your body reacts to it, right? Do you feel more sluggish? Do you feel like you're retaining a lot more water? Do you feel more bloated, right? So then you are aware whenever you do go have dinner, because I believe that people should still live their life, right? And, not be so fucking strict on it because that's just going to stress them out even more. And you know how stress plays a fucking role, especially in women. Cortisol levels go up and like all this other shit. So if they're constantly stressed, they're not going to see the results that they want to see. Right. But it's just paying attention to the portion and what goes into it, right? But yeah, I try to preach cooking at home, man, because I know what it does for me. Now, granted, I know what it does for me doesn't work for everyone else, but at least it goes back to you knowing what you put into your body.
Right. And talking about the whole like living your life and the strict diet thing, like I'm really getting a new perspective on this bodybuilding thing right now because I've matured a lot in the last few years. And the last time I did a bodybuilding prep, it was 3 years ago. So like I've changed a lot in that time period, right? From 24 to 27, a lot of things have happened to basically pretty much change me who I am as a person. And I'm realizing a lot more things about like myself and bodybuilding dieting that I didn't really pay attention to prior. And that's why I love this stuff so much. Because I always take something away from it rather than just how I look. Like that's why I love doing this. And I've come to realize like during this time period, I don't have a show coming up. I don't have anything super important. I'm probably lean enough now to where if I took pictures tomorrow, they would come out fucking incredible, right? But there's this extra competitive edge in me that's like, I've got 6 more weeks to go. How fucking crazy can we make this look? So while I don't have something like it, I don't have to do this. This is all by my own choosing, right?
That's awesome. I think it's fucking awesome.
Right. And I'm having an internal battle right now with having a cheat meal, right? My coach gives them to me very like not regularly, but he gives them to me very rarely, I'll say. Like the last one I had, I asked for. And I don't like to ask for that kind of stuff because it to me, like when I say, hey, can I have a cheat meal? It feels like weakness. And now I'm trying to dive into that a little bit where it's like, why do I feel that way? Why is me asking for something that's a normal human impulse to like have these cravings and want this food, and I'm not doing a show, there is no money on the line, my life's not on the line, like why is that a problem? You know, so diving into that a little bit has been cool in like the mental side of things. Because the other thing, like I don't know if you saw my post the other week, but like I cheated having a bunch of extra fruit when I wasn't supposed to have it, and I was hiding it from my coach, and I had all this anxiety and was like all pissed off, and like it just everything was affecting me. And it's like, where's that? What it just illuminated to me how easy it is for people to get a eating disorder in this if they're not mentally strong enough for it. You know, guys and girls. Like it mostly affects women, but it's asinine to think that men don't get affected by the body image stuff and by eating disorders as well. But at the end of the day, if I tell somebody that I don't think I look big or I don't look shredded or this or that, it's like, oh, shut the fuck up. It's not, oh, you have a body image issue. If I tell somebody I'm struggling with this cheat meal or whatnot, it's shut the fuck up. Just be a man about it. Not, oh, whatever. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Not you have an eating disorder. You know what I'm saying?
No, I completely get that. I completely understand. I've actually did more reading into like the psychology behind the bodybuilding and stuff, right? From my understanding, like I forget what the percentage is, but there's a certain percentage of people they develop mental and physical, psychological issues, right? When it comes to that, because then they start to obsess, right? And they could be in the best shape ever, right? In someone else's eyes, but to them, they don't feel like they're where they want to be, or they feel a certain way. And I mean, I totally respect the bodybuilding world. I know it's something that I wouldn't be able to do. Or if I did, it would take a lot of mental stress on me, but it would I would want to be a perfectionist with it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's just the way I am. That's just my nature.
That's exactly how I am.
So I kind of see where you would struggle with that, right? But and sometimes when I was getting back into shape or leaning out, you know, I would, you know, be really, really strict and not let myself have this, not let myself have that, because I'm like, no, it's not worth it. But then I started having these thoughts, and I'm like, okay, what am I training for, right? I'm training to look good for myself, right? I don't look at social media or have like an image of somebody that I want to look like. What I do when I need that motivation, I go back through videos or pictures of myself where I felt like I was in decent shape or in great shape. And I'm like, okay, what was I doing then, right? To get me to look that way or feel that way. I need to get back to that. I want to look better than I did then. So long story short, or long story longer, my goal, my ultimate goal is I'm training now for longevity.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I train for. What does that mean to me? It means I want to be 90 years old, being able to stand upright, being able to walk, being able to move. God forbid I have any other like serious health issues, but I want to be able to still move around, be active, engage, and interact, right? So I've tailored my workouts and the way I train completely. I don't squat heavy anymore. I think the most I'll squat is I don't even get up into the 300s.
Yeah.
The lift I focus on, my favorite lift of all time, is the deadlift. You know, I will go heavy on the deadlift because I felt like I've perfected it for myself, right? And I can sustain the load properly without having to wear a belt, right? I deadlift raw.
So I made a post about belts the other day. It just made me laugh.
But yeah, man. So where I'm at, I give myself more flexibility. So Sundays are my cheat meal, right? I have a cheat meal on Sunday. And what I've noticed for me personally, it helps me look like the next day, if I'm consistent throughout the week with what I'm supposed to be doing, at home, cooking at home, and not eating like shit. I've also switched up my sugar intake. I have a fucking bad sweet tooth, right? And I would just eat candy, fucking whatever, you name it. I cut that completely out, and I don't crave it.
Right.
Right. Sundays I'll have a burger. I'll have pizza. I'll have fucking lasagna. The next day I feel lean. I feel fucking jacked. You know, like I got a fucking gnarly pump.
Oh yeah.
And I don't feel bad throughout the week. So a cheat meal works for me.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Sure.
and again,
they work for me as well, but like right now it's kind of a test of my willpower to see like, all right, can I hold that a little longer? How much better can I look if I don't have this? That kind of thing. And then at the same time, by denying myself that short-term pleasure, it's going to be better in the long run, right? And then at the same time I think everyone should take a time period where they do get really, really strict with the diet, because it'll teach you a lot about yourself, and it'll teach you a lot about how foods affect you. You know, if you take the foods that you eat on a daily basis and cut them down to like bare bones stuff. So eggs, egg whites, chicken, beef, fish, rice, oatmeals, potatoes, like that, like the basic shit, you can figure out very quickly what affects you good and what affects you poorly. Like you can find that, and then you can fine tune everything from there. Like one of the cheat meals you mentioned you have is pizza. Like I don't know, like I'm gonna have pizza again, but I don't crave pizza anymore because I remember how I feel after, right?
Yes.
Like, so a while back I had a cheat meal with my boy Isaac, and he was raving about these quesadillas. He's like, dude, let's get these quesadillas. Let's get these quesadillas. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like I kept saying, like, I don't really want something super heavy. He's like, no, bro, they're not like that. Like it's not bad at all. We get these things and it's like a grease ball. I literally ate like 3/4 of it. And then I felt miserable for the whole rest of that night. And then the whole next day I felt like shit. I couldn't get off the toilet. Like it was awful. So so I don't tend to reach for that kind of stuff anymore. That's like super, super bad for me. Like Chick-fil-A, for whatever reason, it's a lot of fried food, but it goes down perfectly fine. I have no issues with it. So it helps me kind of learn my body a little bit better. And then it just helps my mind as well. So I think there is a good place for people to use it if they can be mentally strong enough to do it. Like it takes a lot of mental fortitude to be able to do a very strict diet like this. Because even like I said, I've kind of found myself getting into a disordered eating pattern by hiding foods, and hiding foods that aren't even bad for me. Fruit, right? Yeah. So it is very easy to do, and someone who's not as confident in themselves or in touch with themselves as much can get off on a bad path.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. Like starting out, when I get a client, I have them for the most part try to keep a food log or a journal, right? And then I try to review it with them, and then we try to pinpoint kind of what you touched on, how the food affects them, right? And
Right.
it goes back to what I said earlier about eating out, right? I asked them to kind of see if they can notice what the food does to them when they do eat out versus eating at home.
Right.
You touched on it just now. Same thing with my workouts. I stick to the basics with what I consume, right? I'll consume beef. I consume chicken. White rice or jasmine rice works for me.
Try basmati.
What's that?
Try basmati white
Oh
rice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't add any sauces and anything of that sort. I've started incorporating more vegetables, and now I'll make like a fruit smoothie in the mornings, and that's got some almond milk and some Greek non-fat Greek yogurt, and then it's just packed with fruits, right? And I'll have that in the mornings or whatnot,
Get all your nutrients.
and that works for me.
Yeah.
I stick to the basics. I stick to what works for me, and I've been doing that just about through the entire pandemic, and I'm seeing the results that I want to see. So I stick to what works for me.
Yeah, you had that home gym during the quarantine, so that definitely helped out, bro. I didn't have fucking shit out this way. Uh, I got so fucking lazy. I was eating whatever I wanted. I was calling Uber Eats like every other day. It was bad, man. I got off like it makes my progress pictures look really fucking good now, though.
No, but I mean, like that's what I decided. So there was two ways, I could have dealt with this pandemic. I could have did the whole lay on my fucking couch and binge watch, all these stupid shows or whatnot. Or I can build these healthy habits, right? Which I felt like for the most part, built the healthy habits, and that's why. Um, I feel good about where I'm at and where I'm headed. Again, it went back to cooking at home. It went back to not buying as much fucking shoes as I was for the hell of it, right? Uh, go back to yes, I created that little home gym, and I mean the workouts worked. People were coming through. People kept, hey, I want to go train at the den. When can I come to the den? And kind of build some buzz around that, and people still hit me up like, hey, I want to come train and or whatnot. But yeah, man, it allowed me to just build these healthier habits. So I'm not gonna lie, I for the first like week or two I was fucking favoring all kinds of fucking food, and then I was just like, I gotta stop this.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had said that, but mine lasted 2 fucking months until the gyms opened back up. But
It's all right.
so something that we talk about, like you kind of mentioned it a little bit a second ago, was longevity, and that's kind of the basis behind what my business is, like what the what's the word I'm looking for, like the motto, like make making fitness last a lifetime. And especially in the bodybuilding community, there's a lot of people who come on the scene hot. They make a lot of progress. They do everything all at one time, and then they're gone in a few years. And you don't see those people who stick around until they can't anymore, right? Like I want to be able to do this bodybuilding thing until I physically can't go back into the gym anymore. Now, obviously, it's going to have to change over the years. I'm not going to be able to carry the same amount of muscle mass when I get older. I'm not going to be able to lift the same kind of weights. Like I understand that, but right now, while I'm young and okay, like I'm going to push that. But I'm doing that in a manner to where I can do this for a long period of time. Like I want this to last as long as it possibly can in my life. So I wanted to kind of scoot back and talk about training a little bit, because this is where you and I really differ, is our training styles. So
Sure.
obviously people know my style at this point because I've talked a lot of hours now on training in this podcast. But your style is much more functional. There's obviously muscle building properties put in there. Your clients are building muscle, losing body fat, all that stuff, but it's very functional stuff. So talk a little bit about how you set up your programs, like someone who's a beginner coming in for the first time that has never worked out before, and this is the first time they're working with a trainer. How would you go about figuring out how to do their plan and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a great question. Um, Whenever I get a new client, the first thing I do is assess them. I like to assess how their body moves because that's going to allow me to program specifically for them, right? Um, there's a lot of these like social media trainers that, I don't really want to bash them too much, but a majority of them aren't certified. They put out cookie cutter workouts. Hey, let's be honest, right? They put out cookie cutter workouts, and it's not really tailored specifically for their clientele,
I
right?
don't think most of them could pass the certification exam.
Right.
To be honest, but anyway.
And that, I mean, and then they attach like these meal plans, which realistically, if you want to get technical, to prescribe a meal plan, you should be a registered dietitian, right?
Right.
Yet there's a difference with coaching, right? Maybe suggestion, but that's just a whole another thing.
Yeah, it's
we can talk for hours on that. But the way I structure my workout, and it took me a while to figure out my niche or my style, right? I had great mentors at Equinox. One of my best friends and mentor, he's actually a PTM in Bethesda, and this kid is a beast. Shout out to Josh Hockemeyer. But this kid is a beast, so fucking strong. I started working out with him. I gained knowledge from him, and then I think you may have worked with Dylan at Preston Hollow. He may have been gone, but he was more into like the movement and breathing and breath work and more body alignment and sort. So I just combined the two, made my own style, and I focused on the big 5 or the big 7 lifts, right? Nowadays people do too much fancy shit, right? Where stick to your bread and butter, right? Your meat and potatoes. That's when you see the results.
Yep.
Be honest with you, most of the people don't even know how to perform a proper lunge, how to plank properly, right? How to hinge or squat properly, right?
I didn't realize how hard it was to teach people how to bend over.
Oh,
I had
absolutely.
no idea. I really that has been the most mind-boggling thing to me. And I'm trying to think back, like when I first started, if I knew what I was doing or not. I probably didn't, but I feel like I struggled as hard as some of these clients that I have when I'm just like, stick your ass out, push your ass back, like
push your hips back, push your hips toward the back of the room, and they're like, wait, like this? Don't bend the fucking knees. Wait, like this? But hey, whatever. However long it takes them, they're on my schedule. So the big 5 or the big 7, I stick to a knee dominant movement, right? Hip dominant movements, horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical push, vertical pull, and then loaded carries. Right. If you incorporate those into a training program, anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week, you're going to see the results, right? There's no need to fucking, I don't know, do a kettlebell windmill with a press if you don't even know how to hinge, right? Like, why are you doing this shit? And how is that in relation to your client goal?
Right.
I train myself differently than how I train my client.
Yeah.
So like the fancy shit or the kettlebell shit or whatever I do in my workouts, right? Some of my clients may not see it in the workout ever
Right.
because they may not be there, or that may not be a goal of theirs.
You have to be
I'm really
really, like your style of training, you have to be more aware of your body
yeah,
than
total body
my style.
total body awareness.
You still have to be very aware of yourself with like my style of training, but I'm not having somebody go through these multiple different planes of motion. Like
Yeah,
most of the time we're staying in one. So it takes a lot more coordination and a lot more body awareness, like with your style. So you really have to start with bare bones stuff and
yeah.
then
Oh,
slowly introduce you like the progression is a lot different with that style than it is with
yeah.
traditional weight training.
I'm actually piloting a I'm calling it it's called Inner Strength. It's an inner strength program, right? I am choosing, or I'm going to work with 6 individuals, right? It's a class that I'm piloting. 6 individuals who are either looking to get back into shape, or who are new to training,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a 12-week program. I've already have the foundations, everything programmed out, right? It's a simple template that anyone can scale to their fitness levels. I'm starting off with people who haven't trained, right?
Right.
So what that looks like, and to finally answer your question, is I start them off with body weight movements,
Mm-hmm.
right? I teach them how to, first of all, breathe properly, because breathing is important, right? How to be aware of their body, right? Honestly, you put somebody in the bird dog, have them do a bird dog correctly, the correct way, without the fucking leg hike or, whatever. It's challenging for the average person
Sure.
when done correctly. If you don't have ownership of a simple exercise like the bird dog, what makes you think that you can fucking do a reverse lunge loaded,
Yeah.
a split squat loaded, when you don't have the core strength to keep your torso upright? So you're leaning forward, and that's putting a shit ton of tension on maybe your knees, because more than likely you are not in the correct position,
Right.
or the load is too heavy, your core is not strong, so you're going to hurt yourself, right? So I teach people, or my style of training is building a solid foundation.
Right.
Then we add load when it's appropriate, right? Again, it's scaled to everyone's fitness level. Somebody may progress faster than someone else. So how do I challenge that person who is still in this group, right? So I'm like, okay, let's progress it. Let's add this load, right? Or this amount of load. And then that's how I am going to help them build that foundation, so we can progress or whatnot. So build
It's
a solid foundation, body awareness.
right.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like I wanted to kind of scoot back a little bit. It's funny that you mentioned people thinking like that they can do these different exercises that are loaded when they don't have the understanding of even how to move their body through space. And
Okay.
we work in a very interesting environment where everybody and their mother thinks that they know how to work out. They think they know what they're doing. They think they know how to set up a workout plan, and that they can do whatever. Like they're like, oh, that's not hard. They see these people on Instagram doing these crazy fucking movements because the crazy fucking movements are what gets traction on social media. Um, not somebody doing a bench press or a push up or a pull up. Like those things don't get traction. It's these weird exercises that people are coming up with that grabs people's attention. It's like, oh yeah, that's gonna do it. It's like, no fucking moron. But
Exactly.
like we're in a weird spot with our environment where, like I said, everybody thinks they're a professional. Everyone
Yeah.
thinks they know how to do this. No one thinks they need a personal trainer. But it's really funny when you finally get a hold of one of those people that's like, I've been doing this by myself for years. and you tweak something just a little bit, like you don't even, like you make them do their normal workout. I tweak your form slightly and you're now like, what? I've never felt that before. Yeah, no shit. No shit. It's like, because you've been doing this wrong for so fucking long and you have your head up your own ass thinking you know how to do this. Like, it's like, I've never met someone who's like, I want to open up a 401k and I know exactly how to do it. And like, I can make a shitload of money doing it this way. It's like, no, there's financial advisors. Like,
absolutely
know how to do this for a living. Like, it's even really fun. We're, like I said, we're in a weird space where people think they know.
I completely agree. And when it comes to, you know, training, like I love working with other trainers because I always have takeaways. I always learn something, right? I am very humble. I don't, you know, I don't claim to know it all. Like perfect example, you put me through a bodybuilding style workout, right? I mean, we did things that or exercise that I've never done, right? And it felt great. I felt great. I still did my prep work, right? But yeah, so I have takeaways from that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is even trainers need trainers or work with other trainers, right? And that's the nature of our business. But you get like these, you know, fitness models or Instagram trainers, or, you know, what I saw a lot lately was during the pandemic, like these girls, a shit ton of girls became trainers like fucking overnight. And they're selling like, they're selling their fucking meal plans and workout plans with all these fucking bands just fucking everywhere. And it's like, okay, you're adding bands to this. Do you even know why you're adding the band? I bet if I was to have a conversation with them and have them put me through a workout and I questioned everything, every one of their methods, I would call bullshit on just about everything that they say.
Yeah, they would have no reason for why they were doing something.
No, I mean, I think there's a purpose for bands. I like to use them for prep work, right? Mm-hmm. After that, if you're prepped properly and you take the time to prep properly, right, and activate properly, you're going to feel the muscles that you should be feeling. And you kind of touched on it just now, where you're like, you like to get these people who claim they know how to work out and have worked out for years, and then you tweak them, right? And then they're like, holy shit. So I get a lot of like girls that reach out to me that want to train. So once I get them, right, I activate them properly, and then I'll have them perform a body weight squat. Mm-hmm. I'll record the squat, right? And then I'll show it to them. Like, okay, how does your squat look? How do you think can you see anything wrong here? And they look at it, right? And they're like, well, maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. And I'm like, okay, look, I want you to make these little tweaks. I position them and I tell them what to do. And again, everything's body weight. They're fucking hurting. Their ass is on fire. So the first workout, the first complimentary session, I rarely use load. The only time I use load is if it's somebody who has worked out and has experience working out, right? And I know for sure. And even with them, when I get them, I can still pick apart something or tweak something, and they're receptive to it, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't feel the quads, because I hear all these girls, oh, I don't do this exercise because I'm quad dominant and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, we're going to do that exercise, but you're going to feel it only in your glutes or only where I think you should be feeling it. Right. And then I check in the next day and I'm like, okay, how do you feel? They're like, holy shit, my ass is on fire. You know, my ass is hurting. My hamstrings are hurting. I'm like, how about your quads? They're like, oh, you know, my quads aren't even that sore. Right. I mean, of course they're work, but where they
normally would feel it is not where they felt.
Where they normally feel their quads a lot more. They really don't. And it just takes expert professional eyes, someone who really knows what they're doing to kind of pick that apart and be like, look, this is what you should be doing, or I've noticed that you do this. Try this and see what happens. It may work, it may not work, but
And I mean, I have like it's crazy to think this mindset that people have of like I don't want to work with a trainer because I know what I'm doing already is I mean it's closed minded. Like it sounded closed minded when I just said it, and it's like I have two trainers,
yeah,
two
exactly.
that I pay regularly every month. Like,
Yeah.
so it's ridiculous to think that even as a trainer that you shouldn't be seeking more knowledge, like because as long as they're a good, obviously as long as they're a good trainer and they actually know what they're doing, there's something you can take away because I've taken stuff away from you as well. Like
Yeah.
we've both learned a lot from each other. So it's very stupid to think that you can't learn from other trainers. It's closed-minded, and it's this famine mentality that kind of seems to be dissipating to some extent. Like this idea that if someone comes to me and they're looking for your type of workout, but like with a famine mentality, I would be like, oh, I can take that person on and figure it out as I go, right?
Yeah.
But you're going to be faking and you're going to be bullshitting it, whereas in a non-famine mentality like setting, I can say, hey, that's great that you want to do this. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I'm not the right person for you. Let me point you in the right direction. That person's now going to have 10 times more respect for you and could lead to other sales down the road. Whereas if you took them on and like bullshitted them, they're going to figure that out and they're going to be like, that guy sucks.
Oh, yeah. And then
that reputation.
exactly. Then your reputation gets fucking ruined.
Right.
People who follow me on social media know my style of training, right? So if it works for them, then they reach out. If somebody wants to learn kettlebell stuff, because I work with kettlebells a lot. Then people reach out to me like, hey, I want to work with kettlebells. So then we go through that. But if somebody was to come to me and be like, hey, I want to do a show, I'm like, hey, you know what? I've never prepped anybody for a show. Let me refer you to someone who could help you out, right? Potentially help you out, because I'm not gonna do that. Again, that's not my niche, right? I developed my niche, and
there's a lot of people who would just because they're like, oh, I'm going to take this money. Like it's again going back to what we talked about earlier, this short-sighted mindset of like you trying to grab every piece of money you can get. And it's again, you might take a hit for a little while, but in the long run, it's going to build your reputation, and people are going to trust you more in the long run. Like they're going to be like, okay, that person had my best interest in mind. That's someone I want to continue to keep in touch with.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's more advantageous for all of us to work together than it is for us to try and separate out. Because I mean, just in the last year of me being here, by collaborating with other people in the fitness industry, my knowledge has elevated like tremendously, more than it ever did while I was in college. And I have a kinesiology degree, more than it did post college when I was like still in the world and still working with trainers and still competing and doing all that stuff. Like my knowledge since coming here to Texas and networking like aggressively has advanced me so far. And it's stupid to think that you can get that far by yourself.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
No, you don't. And how you become great in this industry is constantly learning, right? Being humble, right? Working with others and just constantly learning. That means like getting new certifications that you believe in and that work well with your style of training, right? Just keep adding to your toolbox, because it's going to just build your value up even more, right? My style of training allows me to work with a variety of different clients, right?
Yep.
because I could tap into those weight loss clients. I can tap into those clients who are trying to build muscle. I can tap into the older clients who just want to move well, because I do work a lot of posture, because nowadays everyone's posture is basically shit. Let's be honest, all right? What are we doing? We're constantly sitting, especially now since this the whole shit. Exactly, we're fucking here.
Yep.
Or we are, we have a phone and we're fucking here. So our next is fucking here, right? So everyone's pecs are really, really fucking tight, and their back muscles are weak, right? So it's like we don't have that range of motion, that mobility. And then it goes back to these people trying to fucking do some overhead pressing when they don't have the range of motion to properly do it. Yes, you and I could probably do it because we're trained, and we can manipulate it. Oh, see, you can't see. See, I've been working on my mobility, my shoulder mobility. I can manipulate it. So when I come up, I think you pointed out one time when we worked out together, I have a good sense, and I have great body awareness, where whenever I am doing pulls, I keep the straps down, instead of here, right, where majority of people do, right? And then I have a good, I'm great at keeping my rib cage engaged and locked in, so that allows me to get into a comfortable range of motion where still working that range of motion. But
and then the stuff with like shitty form with like your shoulder coming up or your hips being out of line, like that also comes down to people trying to use too much weight, like just because they can move it. Like people don't take into consideration they probably don't know what the good form is to begin with. And then second, once they start adding load, they're like, let me add more load because that means more progress. When in reality, all they're doing is digging a deep hole for them to like have to struggle to get out of through chiropractic work and massage therapy and that kind of shit, or they have to completely stop training. So it's like they're building on dysfunction, and that was a big thing that Equinox taught me was correcting dysfunction so that we don't build upon it, right? Because at the end of the day, if I have shit squat form and I continue to build on that shit squat form, at some point something's gonna break, I'm gonna hurt, or I'm gonna like just not be able to work out anymore, right? And it's going to affect all these other things down the line. So yeah, making sure that you're able that you have the mobility to move into those ranges of motion properly is super important before you start adding the load and you start adding all these weird workouts and shit like that, for sure. Yeah, I mean, we got down some rabbit holes there, but yeah, so it's definitely, I think most people at this point are used to my style of training. Like they're doing the push-pull legs, they're doing the hypertrophy workouts, they're doing that kind of stuff. So it is really cool to have a different perspective on things. And you literally touched on what my whole business is about, like making this last a long time. So there's been a lot of things that I've seen you do on social media that you've shown me in person that I've taken away and like figured out how I can apply it to my training in general.
That's what it should be.
Just because it's not a bread and butter hypertrophy workout doesn't mean it's not something I can add on at the beginning or the end that's not going to take away from my workout that could make me function better, right? So that's been the really cool part about getting to know you, getting to know your style of training, and really the Equinox style, because your style is the Equinox style, right? Like to a certain extent, you've obviously put your flair on it. Right, you can put on flair on it, but at the end of the day, you can boil it down to like functional training, right? And I'm not a functional trainer. Like I'm going to help people function better, but I'm here to put some muscle on you and help you lose body fat.
And there's going to be a great, there's a market for that. Yeah. My style is more like, okay, like again, I want to work with a variety range of people. So kind of like you touched on earlier, I break them down, right? I want to build a solid foundation, right? Because can you build like building a house, right? I think this was an analogy that was used at Equinox. Like you could build a house on a solid, on a shitty foundation, right? You can put the walls up, you know, pick the paint, do whatever the fuck to the house, right? Design it as your own, right? On a shitty foundation. But like you said, over time, what's going to happen to that or the foundation?
It's not gonna last.
Eventually, something's going to go wrong, right? And then the house is going to start to crumble.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do, I build a solid foundation. So teach people how squatting works for them because it's different for everyone. What their hinge looks like. Say they're hinging, but there's a rotation of the hip. Okay, let's address that rotation of the hip before we try to perfect the hinge, right? Because why is this hip elevating whenever you're hinging? Let's pinpoint where that's coming from, right? Let's address that. So you can do a banded deadlift and then we can progress it to add the load, right? Everything, this program that I'm running is going to be tailored to everyone. So it's going to build that solid foundation and it's going to progress everyone properly. Because I want to work with older people because you get rid of somebody's pain. And I had this with an Equinox client. He came to me and he's like, I've had shoulder pain, I've had knee pain, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I was like, what if I told you I can get rid of your shoulder pain? He was kind of skeptical. He's like, oh, okay, dude, I've been dealing with this shoulder pain for forever, right? And he wanted to improve his golf game. So I was like, perfect. This is going to be perfect. I worked on his posture. I worked on strengthening his core. I worked on a lot more rotation. I worked on a lot of band and pulls for his shoulder. About 2.5 months into us training, we were on the assisted pull-up machine. And as soon as he got off, he's like, you know what? He's like, today, I went to tuck my shirt in the back, and I noticed that I didn't have that pain in my shoulder that I usually have whenever I tuck my shirt in. And I was like, I told you I could get rid of your shoulder pain. Yep. And still a client. So my retention is pretty high.
It's funny that you said that because as you were talking, that's the thought that came into my head of like, if you can get rid of somebody's pain, they'll stick with you for fucking ever. Because who doesn't have pains, right? And like, we've all tried different things to fix it. We've all done these different things. And like, sometimes anytime it works, we stick to that shit. We know that we can go back to that. So like I was just about to say, one of my clients who at the moment he's not training with me, but I know he wants to come back on. He mentioned when we first started training that he had a lot of issues with his back. He would always have his back cramp up on him. He'd have back spasms, that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, I got you. I didn't say I would fix him. I didn't say anything like that. I just started doing things with him without him knowing that led in the direction of fixing that pain. Yeah. All I had to do was get him to stretch his hips and use his glutes. Yeah. So when he texted me that, and he texted me a few months into it, and he's like, you know what, Nick, like, I didn't realize, like, I haven't had any back pain since we started working together. And I was like, yeah, because I showed you how to use your glutes. That's exactly what I said to him. I was like, I showed you how to properly function. And that now you're not loading everything into your spine. So yeah, I mean, that kind of thing, if there's one piece of advice that I can give to any trainer, regardless of how long you've been doing it, if you can fix somebody's pain, that person will pay you whatever you ask for as long as you ask.
Oh, for sure. And a big part of it is why these people have injuries, right? Is because they don't really take the time to, like you said, stretch, right? Either however, you believe, some people believe stretching before or after, whatever the case is. Most people don't take the time to properly stretch, right? Or properly prep for the movement that they're shooting for, right? What do people do? They'll fucking walk into the gym, get on a treadmill, run for a few minutes, get under a squat rack, fucking squat the bar, add some load, squat even more, add some load, squat even more. When that's not a proper warm up, in my eyes, that's not a proper warm up. But just dialing in, just getting somebody recentered, working some some activation, some prep work, and then you get into the activation. Then you get into I play around with pre-fatigue, right? Just pre-fatiguing the muscles that you're going to kind of work. And I got that from a bodybuilding trainer, right? He taught me about pre-fatigue and stuff of that sort. It's lighter weight, so I incorporate it into my workouts or my clients' workouts.
So funny that you bring that up, because me and my boy Brad, we're doing a weekly podcast now, and we had it was a good discussion, but we started knocking heads over pre-exhaustion, because I agree with it. I think it has really good applications for certain people, and we were going back and forth on this shit, and it was
for certain people too, and it has to be done correctly, right? Pre-fatigue doesn't have to be with load, right? It could be say like you adding bands to hip adduction before you squat, right? Doing 3 to 4 rounds of that. That's gonna prep the muscle and pre-fatigue the muscle.
Yeah, and the thing that he said that he is completely right with this, and I think you'll agree as well. Like saying pre-fatigue or pre-exhaustion is what I was terming it, is probably not the best way to label it, because the term implies that we are fatiguing the muscle before we go in, and that's not the case. So it's really activation work prior to the workout, where it's getting your chest firing if you're going into a chest workout, getting your shoulders firing if you're going into a shoulder workout, your glutes for squats, like all these different things that you can prime and get ready to start working for when you add load, not necessarily getting a crazy burn in that muscle and then now having less output in the rest of the workout. So activate, I think he's definitely right with that, with calling it activation stuff. So it's just funny that you said that when we literally had a long-winded discussion on it yesterday.
I totally see that, and that's correct. But I think maybe that's why they threw the word pre before the exhaustion or the fatigue, because if it's pre-fatigue, but yeah, I mean, just man, we can go on and on about it, but
we can always do another one, man. There's always more.
What I've started. So the last thing and with what I noticed that you started doing, you started adding more mobility work into your workouts. I saw you post something that I'm not really familiar who the guy was, but he looked like he was a bodybuilder, maybe.
Oh yeah, James Hollingshead. He's probably well over 300 pounds right now.
Yeah, and I mean, what I am starting to see is that they're starting to adapt that, right? Just because mobility plays
we have to, because with the way that we're training, our bodies are just going to naturally be tight, and then on top of that, with our daily movement patterns and like what I'm doing right now, I'm sitting, so my hips are tight. If I don't work on that and actively try to loosen those areas up, it's just going to get worse and worse, because they are going to exacerbate that bad positioning for sure. So it's definitely something that I'm still working on it, and I'm trying to do it daily, but I get caught up doing all these other things. But I am doing it more regularly, and I'm already getting the benefits of it. Like I'm already noticing a difference, and things are starting to not hurt anymore. But I've accidentally pulled this shoulder out again the other week. And it's giving me some issues right now, but I'm getting it there. I got my band over here
I'll help you out with that.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have anything you want to plug right now? Like, I know you said you got your thing coming out soon.
So I'm just piloting I'm tapping into
like the classes, like basically the transformation type of thing.
Yeah, but it's going to be different than these fucking F45 or whatever you got, because it's going to be, I'm selecting, I'm interviewing clients, and I'm going to pick six people, right? I'm going to handpick 6 people and work with them, and we are going to keep track of their progress, and we're going to track it by just taking notes And I'm elevating it a bit because I am tapping into zone and heart rate training, right? We're going to get a calculation on roughly what the caloric burn per workout is, right?
Yep.
And if they are counting calories or keeping a track of that, they're going to see kind of get an estimate or gauge how much calories are burning through the workout, maybe on a daily basis, right? And then cross-reference to what they consumed, and if more than likely they're in that caloric deficit, they're going to see more results, right? They're still gonna, if they don't track it, they're still going to see results, but it's just going to hold them more accountable. And I just want to change the way, or try to change the way group training is approached.
Right.
Because it right now is tailored for the masses, cookie cutter workouts that make no fucking sense. Get your heart rate up, and then your heart rate is up, and then you're fucking squatting and doing stupid shit with stupid load. And again, it's just injury. So nothing to plug. I'm just going to do this. And yeah, man.
Cool. And then your Instagram is E_fit5, right?
Yeah, E_fit5. I post food, workout.
Oh yeah.
Advice, I guess.
Yeah. I'll have it linked in the description down in the bottom so people can find you pretty easy. If you guys are curious about the way he trains and don't follow him already, go check out his profile. The dude, he's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's taught me a lot as far as training is concerned. And he's not just a functional trainer. Like he's pretty jacked himself. Like he knows how to build muscle and that stuff as well. So he incorporates the functionality into that body composition changing style of workout. So a huge resource of information if you're looking for a different style of training, or if you want to just learn a little bit, kind of expand your own personal knowledge. But Eddie, I appreciate you coming on, man. We'll definitely have to do another one. I feel like there's some more topics within this conversation that we could have spent a whole another hour on for sure. But,
yeah, I want to do our whole podcast on like these social media trainers. You know?
Yeah, for sure, dude.
You know,
hey, we can talk after. I know you said that there was some stuff you wanted to talk about, so once we stop recording, we can chat a little bit. But I appreciate you coming on, man, and we'll definitely get it done again. All right, brother.